welcome to the first Frostgrave battle report on the channel. So, what I'm doing today is a book that came out for Frostgrave fairly recently, which was Dark Alchemy. And what that was is it's a set of solo missions or scenarios as part of a campaign, which is meant for starting warbands, just really low level wizards and whatnot, and it's you can play it as solo or co-op, but never against each other. And the idea is that you're pitted against some very basic AI, which is supposed to be fairly challenging for basic warbands. This is the table. I'll give you a better view of it in a few moments when I go through the table, then the deployment and whatnot. This video was filmed over the last few days. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm going through some health problems at the moment, so it's been quite tricky to get this sort of thing going. So if you see a different coloured t-shirt on some of the shots, that's why. I'm also recording with a microphone on the ceiling over there. Hopefully that's coming out okay. It's not going to be as good quality as when I'm at the desk in front of you guys, but hopefully it's good enough for this sort of setting. I'm also trying out some techniques with the camera and of course the microphone to see what it would be like having two people playing a game and see how well I can record it. It's a fairly nice setup in terms of recording quickly, so that was a good thing. Yeah, so a bit more about the campaign itself and any special rules. Essentially, it's a game of Frostgrave. You're against some enemies. They follow the normal, basically AI rules that Frostgrave have put in place. So that means random movement when they're not, when they can't see you. Though in this case, they're going to move towards one of these two doors here. The scenario basically puts the warband on the other side of the table, which will be the closest side when you guys are watching it. Then I'm trying to get the warband over there through one of these doors. Now, one of these doors is locked and sort of collapsed behind, so can't be accessed, and I won't know which one until I get there. So that's one cool thing. I'm trying to pick up treasure as I go, because the treasure will mean better progression through the short campaign. The treasure in this is smaller, so it's worth less, but it means that the few guys that I'm taking, because I'm only taking 4 guys, a wizard and 3 soldiers, they can basically just pop the treasure in their pockets and they can carry as many as they like. They don't get the disadvantage on movement or the fight or any of that stuff. So I can pick up as much treasure as I want as I make my way through the table. There's going to be a big gribbly in the centre, and in the middle here is a rat hole where rats can spawn depending on the initiative roll that I roll. And of course they then will try and attack the mob. The mob, this isn't Gorkamorka, the warband, as they come across the table. So that's basically the setup. The general story behind this level is that there's been a collapse in a warehouse or some such. There's lots of dust and rubble around. The warband, sections of the warband have been cut off from others, which is why we've got the reduced size of warband, being just the 4 models. Because there's a lot of dust in the air, the visibility is fairly short. So we've got 16 inches of visibility, which we're only playing on a 2x2 anyway. So it's practically the whole thing, but you won't be able to fire from edge to edge, but basically you'll be able to fire at most things if you have any crossbows or bows. And that is, I think that's it. Yeah, so there's a big monster that's formed in the middle from all chemicals that have been spilled on it. All these different animals have sort of amalgamated into one and made this like hideous beast with tentacles that can hit you if you go within 3 inches of it, and all that sort of cool stuff. So it's just a matter of getting my warband to pick up as much treasure as they can and get through one of these doors, and that is basically the setup. Okay, so these are the models I'm using in this game. So I've got the models I've chosen from my warband. I've got 2 at the back here because I wanted to introduce you to a few of the models of interest, as it were, as part of the gang that aren't soldiers. So we've got Tim the Wizard, it's this fella here. So he's my Thaumaturge, and that's how you say it, Thaumaturge, God knows. We've got a Archer, who's going to be part of this warband, because of course you can only take the wizard and 3 normal soldiers. You can't take the apprentice or any captains you've got. Then we've just got 2 basic if I can hold him right, two basic thieves who look very similar to each other because they're part of the same tribe, I don't know, organisation. We've got, so this is Tim, this is Mike, my apprentice, so he's a Reaper Mini, and put him to one side because he's not in this. And then we've got Daisy, who is my captain when I unlock her. She's not actually unlocked yet, but that's my captain. You may have seen her if you watch my social media accounts. Painted her in the last few days as well. Really like this miniature. It's from the Westphalia, I think that's or Westphalia Kickstarter. I got it as a promotional miniature a couple of months ago from the Dice Bag Lady, as you probably saw when I unboxed the Dice Bag Lady. I'm not sure if I put that in. Right, so for the enemies we've got rats. Now I've got these are my D&D miniatures that I had from a while ago when I used to play Dungeons and Dragons quite regularly. So that's a nasty looking dire rat. We've got another one of those fellas. Then we've got a smaller rat, you can see there. And then we've got this really weird looking horny badger type fella, just in case I need more than 3 rats. And if I need more than those 4, I've got a couple of spiders that I'm going to use in place, but hopefully those won't be needed. Right, and then for the actual monstrosity himself, I've chosen to use this miniature here. Now, what an absolute beast this thing is. It's got a big fish mouth on the top there, it's got 3 arms, it's got 3 legs. It looks absolutely disgusting, and I thought that was the perfect miniature to have those tentacle arms to lash out at people and do some cool damage. It was nice and scary and really fit the bill. So that is the warband, and those are the gribblies that I'll be facing. So next up we'll move on to the table, I guess. Okay, so this is the table setup for today. As you can see, we've got lots of low level ruins, some higher level ruins in the centre bit here. We've got 4 pieces of treasure, one over here, one in the middle, one just through this door, and then one at the back here. Now, instead of using a marker, I've just used a hole in some ruins to represent where the rat's hole is. And then we've got the 2 doors on the opposite edge to where the warband will be starting over here. So that's basically the table. The objective is to get my warband from here through these doors while picking up the treasure. And of course the monstrosity is put right dead in the centre of the table. Okay, so first things first, I have to roll for initiative. The reason for that is because different things can happen depending on how well I roll. Okay, that is a 2. Right, if a player rolls 1 to 7, 2 things happen. First, giant rat is placed on the table. Okay, at the rat hole. The second thing is the alchemical monster moves first this turn. And if the wizard rolls an 8+ for initiative, no giant rat appears, blah 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 blah. Right, okay, so let's crack on to the first turn. Right, so this is how we've deployed. We've got the wizard here. We've got the 2 of his thieves behind him, and of course we've got an archer over here by himself. Right, so as I lost the initiative roll, it's going to be the monstrosity that moves first. Okay, so the alchemical monster on his turn, the monstrosity down here, he can't see any of my warband, so he has to head towards one of the doors at the back of the table at random. So it's going to be 1 through 10, the door on the left, and 11 through 20, the door on the right. It's going to be the door on the right. Okay. Right, so he's going to head through here and do his 5-inch movement, and that will take him over here. On my first wizard's turn, the wizard has run from here over to here. One of the thieves has stayed with him, and the other one has dashed up this ladder here, full movement, trying to get this piece of treasure on top there. As we know, the line of sight on this scenario is 16 inches, so nothing was within range, nothing was visible to my archer, so he literally just ran from where he started, full movement out here. He's going to make a dash for the left side of the table. So the rat can't see any of my warband, I don't think. No, so he's going to make a dash for one of the two doors. Right. Again, 1 through 10 is the left door. That's going to be the right door as well, so he's moving his 6 inches. He's going to be hanging out with the Monstrosity. Beginning of turn 2, we roll initiative again to see who's going first, me or the Monstrosity. That is a 19, so that is going to be me. On my wizard's phase, the wizard moved from here to here and is going to cast a spell on the fella up there, and the one thief moved up to pick up the treasure at the top here, and the other thief has moved just over here. The wizard is casting shield on this fella up on the bridge. Let's have a see how that goes. So I'm looking to beat 10. That's a 6. So I haven't failed in terms of hurting myself, but do I want to take 4 damage? No. So that was a failed spell, unfortunately. Okay, so the Monstrosity was able to see the thief at the top of the bridge here. He wasn't able to make it into contact, so into combat rather, but what he can do is he can use one of his sort of tentacles to lash out at him, which is a shooting attack at +0. The green dice will be the thief and the white dice will be the Monstrosity. Okay, so we've got 14 versus 4, so that's a huge win for my thief and no damage is done. Right, so realising how much trouble that thief is in with that Monstrosity around, I have moved my archer from here up the ladder, and he's moved just here so that he can hopefully do a bit of defending as the thief runs away. Now the thief is faster than the Monstrosity because the rules of this single player campaign mean that he can travel full speed with as many treasure tokens as he feels. So hopefully I can run away, but we'll see how that goes. Right, on the creature phase, the rat can only move 6 inches, but the Monstrosity's in the way, so what he's going to do, he's going to run right behind the Monstrosity. Plonk himself down there, ready to join in the fight if he gets a chance. Okay, the wizard phase. The wizard has moved from here around there, and he can see the bottom of this thief here at the top, so he's going to try and do a spell on him. In the meantime, the other thief has moved flat out and has ended up on this side of the building over here. Right, well, let's have a go at that spell, shall we? So I'm looking for a 10. 20, nice. Right, so that has cast shield on the thief at the top, and he now has an extra 2 shield armor basically. So hopefully he can withstand a little bit more of that crazy Monstrosity and the rat that's following close behind. Because I realised between turns that the Monstrosity moves before my soldiers do, so he's going to get to that thief before I have a chance to do any running away whatsoever. So let's have a see how that goes now, shall we? Right, so as you can see, the Monstrosity has made it into combat with the thief. I've moved the treasure out of the way just so they can get into combat there, and it's time to see what happens. Right, so the thief has a +1, and he will be the green dice, and the Monstrosity is the white dice with a +4. What have we got? So that's a 10 and a 2. Ouch! So that's going to be 14, and the Monstrosity has won. Right, so he's won by 14. Now the normal armour of a thief is 10. But luckily I managed to get that spell off, and that basically means that he only loses 2 health, though he is now trapped in combat. On to my soldier phase. The archer has realised that there is nothing he can do for the thief, and so has picked up the treasure and has legged it over here. Right, he's going to make a dash for the door, so that's the end of his turn. Thankfully, being up on this bridge here has meant that the rat can't actually get anywhere near the thief. He can only add to the combat as well if he's in base contact with the thief, so luckily Or unluckily, the thief is a little bit screwed on that bridge there, but at least he's keeping the old Gribblies entertained. So I've pretty much given up on him, but we'll see. He might make it through, and I might have a chance at getting him out with his treasure. The wizard has moved from down here over to here, but before he did that, he cast a spell to try and strengthen the good old thief there, give him a fighting chance. And that is going to be cast on 14. It's a little bit of a stretch here. 9, and that fails by 5, which is going to be 1 damage to my spellcaster. Back to the mighty combat on the bridge. Let's have a see if this thief can survive, or maybe even hurt the monstrosity. Okay, once again the white dice is going to be the monstrosity. He has +4 and the thief has +1. Fantastic, so we've got a 17 and a 10. Right, so that's obviously a win for the thief. Now he gets -1 because of the fact that he's only wielding a dagger, essentially just a small knife. But that's going to be 6, I believe. Armor 13, so that is going to be 3 damage to the monstrosity, leaving him with 17 health. Wow, this is an uphill struggle, I think, but luckily he's keeping the good old monstrosity busy and giving the rest of the warband a chance, so I think he's a bit of a sacrificial thief at this point. On to my soldier phase. The archer from up here has now made it to the door, though he hasn't opened it yet, and the thief has now picked up that piece there. So let's have a see what happens as he opens up this door. On a 15+, that's the correct door. Oh, 8, so that is in fact the wrong door. So the door I've been heading to for the whole game turns out to be false, and I'm going to have to head the other way. On the creature phase, that rat there is still blocked by the monstrosity and can't quite get to my thief. He doesn't have visibility of any of the other members, so I'm not 100% on the rules on whether they should actually go for the other members, but or the one that he's closest to, which is being blocked. Let me know down in the comments if you know the answer to that one. But for now, he is stuck. This is the roll for this turn's initiative, and on a 20, my wizard goes first, and then the monstrosity is going second. The wizard, not being in any range of any of his soldiers, has basically moved over here, and he's going to try, now that he can see him again, he's going to try and cast up on top to give strength to the thief that's up there, hopefully not hurting himself this time. So we are looking for 14 again. Oh dear, that's a 6. So that's going to hurt. That's a fail by 8. That's going to be another damage. I'm not going to try and buff that up, that's far too much. That's another damage. That takes my wizard down to 12 health. He will get a spell off this time, he will. So now it is the monstrosity's turn to attack the thief. Let's have a see if the thief can hold him off once again. Right, so the monstrosity has +4 on the white dice, the thief has +1 still. Okay, this is not good. So the thief hasn't won because that was a 17. Now 17 +4 is a lot. Oh dear, oh dear. That's going to be 21, and with an armour of 10, that's 11 damage, and that thief is now dead. So I've got to take that thief off the table. That opens up the monstrosity and the rat for a chance to kill the other members of the party, who aren't actually that far away. This could be a tense ending. With the whole warband realising that this door here was locked, it's going to be a mad dash now over to the other door. So the thief has moved up to there, and this archer here has moved from the door. And the thief can actually move a further 3 inches. That gets him a little bit closer to the door. Right, I'm aware at this point that these guys are perilously close to the rat hole. If I roll badly on the next turn's initiative, I'm going to have a rat in their faces. And also these, all they've got to do is go down this ladder and they can really do some damage down on the floor there. Okay, time for initiative again. That's a 9. Just going to check the rules a second. Yes, as long as it's 8+, I go ahead of the monstrosity and no further rats come out the door, so that's fantastic. That might give me a chance to get all my warband that remain through that other door. Okay, on the wizard's phase, he was close enough to the bowman for them both to activate, so he's moved himself to here. He's going to try and spell up here, and the archer has moved to there, and I haven't decided what he's going to do yet, so let's try this spell first. What I'm going to try and use is Leap, which is you can throw an enemy or any target 10 inches in any direction. So let's have a see how I get on. Right, so this one unfortunately is going to be a 12 because it's an unaligned spell. 20, fantastic. Right, got that spell off. Right, so what's going to happen is the wizard. I'll just take you back to the other camera. The wizard is going to throw the monstrosity in the opposite direction, basically. So let's have a see where he ends up. Okay, the monstrosity has been thrown from up here on the bridge all the way down to behind this piece of scenery here. He's got a big way ahead of him to get back to the models he's trying to attack. Oh, not the camera. To end his activation, the bowman has moved from here just over to there, just getting closer to the door where they're trying to escape from. Okay, so the monstrosity couldn't see any of the warband, so he simply moved from where I threw him to over to here. I randomised which door he was heading towards. Unfortunately, he was heading towards the correct door, so instead of coming sort of this way and again well away from where the warband are, he's heading straight for them, but it should be a few turns before he manages to get there. Right, so on my soldier phase, the thief has moved up. We know this is the correct door, so I'm going to open up that door. That's now ready for people to escape out of. Right, now it's the turn of the rat. On the creature phase, the rat has caught my wizard. I think I can take him out, but hopefully I can. You never know in this game, so let's have a see what happens. Right, so the rat is going to be the white dice. He gets +0 to his fight. My wizard has +2. Ooh, okay, so the wizard has won by... It's equal, so it's a draw, isn't it? Ouch. So nothing happened that turn. Let's have a see what happens next time. It's time for initiative again, so let's have a see what happens. That is a 15. So all that happens is I move first, then the monstrosity, and no extra rats. That's very important. It's probably saved me, to be honest. Okay, on the wizard's turn, there's nobody nearby to help, so it's just a matter of the wizard trying to hit that rat with his staff. So let's have a see what happens. The rat gets +0, the wizard gets +2. Fantastic. You can't see that because of glare, but that is a 20. So that wins, and that's also a critical. Fantastic. Now, 20 +2 is 22 damage. The rat has 6 armour and 1 health. So that rat is dead. Oh, let's remove him. Brilliant. So he's killed a creature. Fantastic. Because he hadn't moved that turn, the wizard has now used a move action, and he's going for the last piece of treasure, other than the one up on the bridge that the party has all but abandoned. The monstrosity on his turn has made a mad dash through the centre of this building here. He's actually not that far away from the warband, so this is all going to go down to the last turn, I think. Because of the foolish wizard's actions, the rest of his soldiers are basically need to stay behind to try and protect him. So the archer has moved over into this corner here. The thief is next to him just in case the monstrosity gets close, and the archer is going to take a shot at the Monstrosity. So the Monstrosity has a +4, the Bowman has a +2. Now it's actually going to be +5 because of the intervening terrain for the Monstrosity, so he wins, so that's no damage done to the Monstrosity. The archer's arrow doesn't hit home, unfortunately. The wizard has made a foolish decision and may well have lost the game. We are back now to the activation phase. Let's have a see what happens. 18, fantastic. So that means the wizard goes first and the Monstrosity goes second, and then my soldiers. And the important thing is that no rats are coming out of that rat hole to threaten the wizard's retreat. The wizard has had to abandon his greedy thoughts. He's left the treasure behind over there because there was literally no way he could pick up the treasure and get to the door before the Monstrosity tore him to pieces. And a Monstrosity, as we've learnt, is incredibly strong compared to a starting warband, so he's made a mad dash and made it to the door, which hopefully will mean that he can last the next turn without being killed and get through the door with the rest of his warband. The creature has moved up from where he was to over here. He's right in the warband's phases. Now, this is very important now. I need to go on to a second turn, or an extra turn, in order to get my wizard out of that door. And the initiative roll, if I fail my initiative roll, he is going to go first and could stop my warband getting through the door. So I've pretty much decided that on their turn the other guys are going to make a mad dash and they are going to head straight out the door. So one piece of treasure, and the thief the other piece of treasure. So they've got the 2 pieces of treasure on the soldier phase. Not really any rolling to do, so now it pretty much all comes down to one final roll. Let's have a see what happens. On a 1 to 7, the Monstrosity goes first and he's going to catch my wizard. Oh, well, that was for a six for a moment. It's a 9, thank God. So now that means that my wizard, on his activation, is going to escape through the door, and then I suppose slam those doors behind him, barricade them, so that the Monstrosity is stuck inside. Right, that was fantastic. Really close ending. Let's have a see what happened to the warband. Okay, so the game has ended. The warband were victorious. They escaped the crazy Monstrosity with his tentacles, and we only lost one thief. The thief being this guy lying down at the back there. So these 2 guys got away with the treasure, which we'll calculate in a moment, and the wizard is going to get some experience for killing a creature, and the experience from the treasure, and the spells that he managed to cast, which were 2 I believe in that game. So first things first is to figure out what's happened to this fella at the back here, and see if he's dead or badly injured. Okay, so to see if he's badly injured, we roll a d20 and a 13. As long as it's higher than 8, he has fully recovered. So fantastic. The thief is back in the warband. He can join the rest of them, and he can be used in deciding what I do for the next solo campaign, which I think is a reduced number of soldiers again, potentially not being able to take my apprentice again, but we'll see. It's time to roll to see what the treasure is. So let's do the first piece of treasure first. Now the treasure is reduced in this compared to the normal Frostgrave, the idea being that you are picking up very small pieces of treasure, and that is why you can carry several and you're not encumbered by them. So the first one is going to be 17. That is a magical item, right. And the second one is going to be a number 7, which is 25 gold coins and a potion. And the magic item is going to be a number 1, a staff of power. And that of course is used for empowering spells if they fail. So I've got a little bit of a buffer there where I can beef up one spell for 1 without taking any damage to my wizard's health. And the spell, let's roll for that so we see what's on the scroll. Okay, we've got a 12. which is there. Okay, then we need to roll again to see what it is, because there's 2 rolls involved in this. So 12, that's going to be fog. Okay, so we've got a scroll with fog and a staff of power, I think it was, wasn't it? Okay, on the experience front, the wizard has got 160 experience, which should take him up a level. So I should be able to do my first level for him. So there we have it. How close was it at the end in that corner? That was fantastic. I really enjoyed the difficulty of it, the way that it flowed. It was a really fun game. I've played games of Frostgrave before, but never sort of solo. And the impression I get from this is it's a great way of setting up a simple game and basically having 2 people learn how to play it with a reduced number of people. Nice quick game. You learn how to move the creatures. You learn how to move your warband, how to do your spells, all that sort of thing. I've got some really good spells off in this one, especially that leap that I did on the big gribbly from the bridge. Really enjoyed that. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the way this was shot. It's a new way I'm trying of doing it, because what I was finding was that with the webcams that I use, they don't have particularly good stabilization. There's no sort of optical stabilization like you get in the expensive cameras, because they're not meant to be carried around. They're meant to just be set on top of a monitor and record from a static position. So that's why I'm using the swing arm to get it positioned where it needs to be. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the swing arm setup and how it all flowed, and of course switching to the dice tray over there as well. We're really keen to find out what you think on those things. Right, I think that's all I wanted to say. Really enjoyed this game. I'll be doing the actual leveling up as part of the beginning of the next game that I do, which will be the second scenario in this campaign. Hopefully that won't be too long, and of course I'll be doing some versus games on the channel as well. So hopefully you enjoyed, and as usual, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Stay well, guys.